I cannot stand how the news has been dogging Gen Z.
Here's the real reason why Gen Z doesn't want to work.
These kids don't want to work today.
What up? So today we are going to talk about Gen Z in the workforce and not wanting to work. And I really think you can roll a lot of millennials into this as well, because I myself am a millennial and I actually agree with a lot of the thought processes that we're about to see today. But without further ado, let's get into it.
I cannot stand how the news has been dogging Gen Z and calling them lazy for not wanting to work a 9 to 5 for the rest of their lives. Let me put it in perspective for everybody who's a little confused here, okay? I work 5 days out of the week, 40 hours a week, okay? I do not make enough to live on my own. I would not make enough to pay rent, water, electric, and eat.
I think about this all the time with my kids and the future and what it's going to look like for them, because prices have gotten so crazy that working a regular 9 to 5 job isn't going to cut it. It really isn't. And the people that I know that are successful and able to do it either A, have their own businesses, or they're working 80, 90 hours a week just to live an okay life. And at that point, it's like, we're just living to work. Like, what is the point? Because there's more to life than just working or providing for people. But
all by myself, I would not be capable of doing that. 20 years ago when you were getting started, you could live on your own. 20 years ago when you first started, you were able to do everything that I am now struggling to do. Let me add another perspective here. You've been working for 20 years. You have 20 years of working experience behind your belt. You have 20 years of experience in a career that has allowed you to gain raises, to get more money, to profit you in an economy that you created. You can sit here and you can call Gen Z lazy all you want, but I've been working my tail end off just to barely make it by. And respectfully, I don't want to do that for the rest of my life. I don't want to work my tail end off, wasting all of my life working just to barely be able to pay my bills. And that is what you created, not Gen Z. We're just here getting started. You've been doing it for the last 20 years. You tell me how it got ruined. We can sit here and we can call Gen Z lazy all you want, but you let the economy turn into what it did. You let it all run to hell. And now it's Gen Z's fault because we don't want to work to fix your mistakes.
she's a little animated, but I do agree with her because things are not what they used to be for prior generations. And it's true. Like in the past, people were able to provide for a family, buy a home, buy a car, live an okay life on minimum wage. And to stay at a job forever and get raises, I learned very quickly after I fixed my life and got into the working class of America, I learned that raises do not keep up with inflation. And generally, raises are just not enough to change your lifestyle, your life, anything. It's just a little bit to keep you on a little bit longer. And I can argue both points. Like, these are businesses that need to be cost effective, but the problem comes when you have the higher ups making a significant amount more than everybody else. And I get it that they took the risk. They did all these things to build the business. But at what point is it crazy the difference between how much an owner makes, a CEO makes, and the actual employee that's running the company makes? There's an argument for both. You know, I believe in capitalism, but also it's a lot. It's a lot. It don't make sense. I get it. It's very discouraging. And I know this because I almost feel like I'm a Gen Zer when it comes to the workforce, just because I didn't get into the workforce until much, much later. I mean, it wasn't until 2017 before I actually started working real jobs. I had done a few things in the past, but mostly my life looked a little bit different then. But I don't know. Let's get into the next one.
Is it really so shocking to learn that Gen Z doesn't really have the same appetite for climbing the corporate ladder anymore, when we are relentlessly reminded in so many ways by our culture that labor is not viewed as an asset, but instead a cost? The most high-paid positions in society are finance, more specifically private equity and hedge funds that infiltrate companies and cost cut. What's the highest cost? Labor. So it's always heads on spikes. That's what people want, right? So it's a completely adversarial relationship that capital has with labor now. If you want to get paid the most, you have to fire the most. And why would you work hard for a company that views you as a nuisance, right? They can't wait to get rid of you.
That's another huge change from what was in the past, is that people could go stay at companies for long term, be taken care of, be treated with respect, be treated as an asset as opposed to being a liability. It's changed a lot. And it's another reason why I agree with these people of a lot of their points, not all of them, obviously.
That's what AI is all about. It's about taking over what you're doing. It's about taking skilled labor completely away from society, so there's only Amazon delivery drivers left. And I don't know, that's pretty much it. And private equity's coming for everything.
Amazon delivery drivers are probably out of a job as well. I've just seen that they're about to do a bunch of layoffs, because once they figure out the robotics portion of it as well, a lot of people are in danger.
2, HVAC, electricians, all of that. All of those companies are being bought up now. So no wonder we want to pursue our hobbies and things like that. We've been told by capitalists over and over again that they can't wait to replace us, so we don't want to work for them.
Now, I think getting into the trade is still a really good career choice, a good direction to go with the trades. HVAC, electricians, things like that, because being able to work with your hands is so important. And unfortunately, I didn't spend most of my life learning trades or learning how to work with my hands like a lot of my friends. I'm actually the odd one out because I'm like the only one that can't do a lot of these things. I think that's where the money is going to be in the future. I've seen that Google is going to put a bunch of money into trading people to be electricians. I think that is going to be a high paying job in the future. I think it's going to be a long time before you can get robots to actually take over that job, because working with your hand and being dexterous with, robots, that's going to be a long, long time from now. That probably is the future. But then I was talking about this not too long ago on a different video about how I was thinking about maybe I should go learn how to be an electrician. And they were like, you don't think everybody else ain't thinking that too? It's about to be flooded and oversaturated. And on top of that, it's really hard, because I actually tried to get into HVAC and to be an electrician while everybody was saying that they couldn't find nobody to work and they're not hiring. But I couldn't get nobody to give me a chance, even as an apprentice. And I know I'm a little bit older, considered for the workforce, but also like I have a lot of experience and I can bring a lot of value that's not directly involved in the position I'm being hired for. I don't know. It's a lot, man. There's so many unknowns, and I'd be lying if I knew what's really going to go on. Is AI really going to live up to all the hype? Is it not? I have no idea. I really don't. But what I do know is that what I'm seeing and the patterns and how things are playing out, that I wouldn't doubt it, man, if things don't look really, really different in 5 to 10 years, and that having your own sources of income are super important, and building your own things are super important, and learning how to work with your hands are going to be so, so important.
Gen Z is the first generation that out of college, they're just like, unless I get a job that fits exactly what I'm looking for, I would just rather just not work. And they'll go and they'll take a temporary position, or they'll go for an interview. And if they find that they don't find the things that they're looking for in their employer, they just won't take the job. Whereas back in the day, our parents' generation, baby boomers, they were happy, they would take anything, they would snatch your hand off you offered them a job opportunity, because it was a different culture back then.
And that could be an issue, right? That could be an issue, because you have to work from the bottom up. But they're also the first generation that is coming out of college with like an unemployment rate of like 50%. And I don't know if maybe this guy's thoughts are part of that problem, is that you can't find something that fits all the criteria, checks all the boxes, and they just won't take the position. But what I'm seeing, and a lot of people I'm talking to, whether they want to admit it or not, is that a lot of white collar work is already being outsourced, and AI has taken positions. People aren't talking about it because they don't want everybody to freak out, but that is the reality, right? And college degrees have, in my opinion, not been worth it in a long time, right? You can get so much information online. You can learn from YouTube, all kinds of different ways that you can learn, that it just kind of makes college obsolete. Now, if you're trying to be a lawyer, a doctor, there's a few things that I think college would be important for, but the majority of that stuff, there's just no need to go to college. And honestly, if I went to college and spent all that money and 4 years learning, I'd probably want my job to check off a lot of my boxes as well, because that's a lot of money. But also the battle is that you have to build your way up from the bottom. But then it's like, well, why'd I even go to college for if I got to start as an entry level anyways? So I don't know. I don't have a lot of experience with that, but I do know a lot of people that have went to college and don't even use the degree. It didn't help them. I, for one, went to college for criminal justice when I got out of the military, and I've never used it, but I also didn't finish. And I also, caught some charges after that, but that's a different story for a different time. So what do you think? Let me know down in the comments. Do you think that Gen Z is just not wanting to work? They're not wanting to take jobs unless it checks all the boxes? Or have their eyes been open to what's really going on in the world, and they have a different level of understanding by watching the older generation struggle so much and live lives that they're so unhappy with?
Here's the real reason why Gen Z doesn't want to work. Kids these days, they don't want a hard days of work at all. They just want to quit their jobs and be on social media all day long. Yeah, it's actually a lot more complicated than that. We want to quit because we're being taken advantage of, put in huge amounts of debt, and not paid properly. See, because while you're working in the 80s, your salary could actually afford you a decent lifestyle, but let me just show you the numbers. Since 1970, home prices have increased by 1,608%. If we compare minimum wages from then and now, in 2022, minimum wage is 40% lower than what it should be compared to 1970. But anyways, the same home that cost you $100,000 in 1970 costs you $710,000 now. All the while, wages have remained stagnant. Okay, sure, but that's just the way things are now. We had struggles too. Live with it. Yeah, kind of hard to live with it when college has increased by 2,000%. Tuition used to be $1,700 in 1970. And in 2020, it's about $38,000 a year. Follow for more.
I like how she broke down the graphs, but I mean, that just reiterates my point of things aren't keeping up. People are waking up. People do not want to live miserable lives. You only have one life on this planet. You only get one chance. There's no reset, no start over. Why spend it miserable, barely scraping by? That's why I'm willing to go out and make a fool of myself, try things that make me uncomfortable, do new things, because I know that in order to change my life, I have to do something different. You got to wake up from all this nonsense of, go work a 9 to 5. And I'm not, some people do luck out. They get great jobs. Things do work out, but they always do something else, right? Investing. They start a side hustle. There's always something else. You have to do something else in order to succeed. And with everything being stacked against you in today's age, there's no choice. Otherwise at this point, I don't even know if there's enough Social Security for my generation to collect Social Security to retire. And them things really got me thinking about why I learned how to invest, why I learned how to code, started my own business, started a YouTube channel. All these things just really got me thinking about my own personal finances. And it's the truth. You have to do something different, and things are only getting worse. And so many people are like, suck it up. That's the way it is. But why is it that way? We all live here together. Why can it not be changed, or we do something different? Right. And I don't know what the solution is. I don't know what that looks like, but something has to change. Something dramatic has to change for our future generations to succeed. But at the rate that we're going and the way that we're going, and I think this is applicable to everybody across the world, something has to change. Something. I don't know what. Something.
These kids don't want to work today. They just don't want to work. Ask anybody. Except I'll tell you what, when I was 19 years old, I worked at Applebee's, and I could pay my rent for my apartment that I split with a few buddies. I could put gas in my car. I could get food. I could get a haircut once a month, and I could go to the bar for a quart of beers every Wednesday, man, So I'm telling you right now, these kids, to get an apartment, you need first, last, and a security deposit. The rent's $2,800 a month, and you need a 750 fucking credit score. You know, they can't afford fucking anything. So maybe they don't want to work, or maybe they just figure, what's the fucking point? You know, maybe I'll just stay in my fucking mom's basement and drive Uber Eats every time I want to fucking go to the weed store.
I like seeing older people standing up for it. I assume he's older. He looked like he was older. Working at Applebee's, being able to afford everything. I could assume he's older. And that credit score, man, that's why I put my kids on my credit cards early. That way, when they turn 18, they're going to have a higher credit score, set them up for the future. I wish I could live with my parents in the basement and save money, you know, and unfortunately, I never really had that option. I moved out when I was really young, like 14. But I mean, it's all over the place. And I just really want to know what everybody else's thoughts are on this, because what are they supposed to do? And I have kids that are going to be coming into the workforce soon. I have kids that are in the workforce soon, and I worry about them so much. I think about, like, what is their future going to look like, right? And not including mine. Like, I'm so far behind in life. I have so much catching up to do from the poor decisions that I made in my 20s and my teens. What do you think? I mean, are they lazy? Do they not want to work? Are they waking up? Are they escaping the matrix? I don't know. Actually, I think I do know. I think people realize that they don't want to work and be miserable and barely scrape by for their whole lives. And I don't blame them. I don't want to either. If I could, I would never work a job again, and I would just do things for myself and earn income that way, and probably earn better income. But it's all about bringing value. You got to learn skills. You got to gain experience. You got to become valuable to people, however that looks. Value can come in all kinds of different forms. Become valuable. You have to become valuable, however that looks. I think that's it for today. I got a big day lined up. I want to get these videos out, trying to put some more videos out, change the direction of this channel a little bit, and talk about things I want to talk about. That's just what we're going to do. Love you guys. Later.